Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl, MsJelisha J. If you do not know me, I am a spiritual teacher and inspirational speaker, and I help you transform your limited beliefs so that you can align to your true authentic self. And I do this by helping you open up your heart space so that you can welcome in loving relationships, loving friendships, loving connections, loving experiences while you are on this planet, you know, because we are destined to experience love. That is the ultimate highest vibration, and you're worthy to experience all that you want and all that you desire. And so if you feel connected to me, if you feel like a kinship, you feel like a vibe with me, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you are aware when I post videos. So this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 ways that you can tell that you are on the path of a spiritual awakening or spiritual enlightenment, or just on a path of spirituality. I remember I started my spiritual journey about 3 to 4 years ago, and when I started, like, the signs were pretty similar as to what I'm going to speak about right now, but it's kind of like general across the board. We all have our own different paths, our own different journeys, our own different experiences, but there's a commonality with what we go through when we're on that path of spiritual enlightenment and spiritual awakening. So I want to talk about the three main things that I noticed on my journey and what I've seen from other people when, you know, you're on the path of wanting more. So if you're watching this video and you're like, what is a spiritual awakening? Spiritual awakening is when you come into knowledge of your true self, when you start questioning who you are, when you start realizing that there's more to life, to yourself, to the planet, to other people than what you've been told. What you've been told about yourself, what you've been told about society, what society has fed you, what the government has fed you, what everyone has fed you. You start to learn more about what this planet is really about, what consciousness is really about, what faith is really about, what God is really about. You know, you just learn about yourself when you have a spiritual awakening, and it's for each person to find their own reasoning or connection with God, or their faith, or their spiritual connection. You can still be religious and have a spiritual awakening, but it's definitely a time for self. And normally what I see is that a spiritual awakening is caused or happens after some type of tragedy, some type of painful event that occurs. For me, it was my grandmother passing. My grandmother passed, and I also had a really bad car accident. My grandmother was like the light of my life. Like, she was the most pure version of love to me that out of anyone I've ever met. And what I see with spiritual awakenings, we usually lose people that we love so closely, so dearly, that we really care for. Some type of trauma, some type of tragedy, some type of death, possibly a car accident, possibly other things that could have happened that trigger our spiritual awakening. Because you have depression after that, you have grief, you have pain, and you may start having some type of inner reflection of, why am I the way that I am? And so that leads to the spiritual awakening if you are willing to take a conscious look into yourself and are willing to go through the path. Because a lot of times we can stay stuck in that pain, but those who are brave enough, or those who are willing to really figure out the why, they are willing to take on this journey of healing and growing. And can I just say that you guys are the chosen ones? You are here to wake everyone else up. You are here to help other people, you know, find another way to get through their pain, to get through their anxiety, their depression, their mental health issues, things that leaving them stuck in pain, the low vibrations. You are here to show them that there's another way. So blessings upon you, because you are so gifted, you're so chosen. It was a reason why you're watching this video. So you're amazing. So let's jump into the first sign. The first sign is that you start questioning, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of your life? What is the purpose of even being here? So if you had like a traumatic experience, or you've lost a loved one, or something has happened, you're going to probably be depressed. You're probably going to be having mental health issues. You're probably going to be, you know, questioning yourself, like, what is the reason for me being here? Or even not even a traumatic experience. You could be single, you could be alone, you could be, you know, without friends or without healthy friends or healthy environments, or you could be in a job that you absolutely hate. You hate going to the job every single day. You hate showing up. You hate seeing your coworkers. You hate seeing your managers. Or you could be in a family that don't really see you, that you're living a life that you feel that's been placed upon you by your parents or by your family. You could be in a relationship that is unhealthy, or a relationship you feel that you're not living your truest desires. You're not fulfilling the desires of your heart. You don't feel that this person really gets you, or you don't feel that you are being seen. There could be a multitude of different reasons. Or you could be a parent, you know, that's struggling, that's feeling like you've lost your identity, you've lost a part of yourself in your children because they've become your absolute life. Maybe they've grown up and now they've left the nest, and you feel lost. You don't know who you are. There could be a multitude of different reasons, but you start questioning, what is the purpose? What is your purpose? What is your purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? Are we just here meant to struggle? Are we here meant to be, you know, unhappy? Are we here just to, you know, be servant to somebody else? Or are we here, like, what are we here for? Like, what is the reason? And I'll use my personal experience. I remember I was turning 33 and I was at a restaurant with two of my girlfriends at the time, and I felt absolutely horrible. I was thinking, I'm still single. I am at a job I hate. I am doing things I don't really like to do. I thought I would have, you know, a different life by now. I thought I would be experiencing something different. And I just remember feeling so down. And then after that, I believe that was like the chain reaction to, you know, I had a car accident after that. I lost my grandmother after that. But, you know, the universe was bringing people into my life that was challenging what I was believing about myself. Like, oh, you don't like where you are? So what are you going to do about it? Why are you still stuck here? Why are you still doing the same thing if you don't like where you are? And it was a rude awakening for me, because I was kind of questioning, like, am I just supposed to exist? Is this what this is supposed to be about? And I feel that that's a lot of what happens when we start our spiritual awakening. We are questioning, like, why? And the reason you're questioning it is because you're no longer satisfied or no longer happy in the pattern or the cycle or whatever program that you've created or that you've been a part of. You're no longer happy. And that's really just your soul's way of showing you or telling you that it's time to awaken. It's time for you to align to your heart's desire, to your heart's core. It's time for you to learn your authentic self. And your authentic self is, you know, it may not even be that job. It may not even be that relationship. It may not even be, you know, that being around that family or those friends. It may be something completely different than you absolutely could ever imagine. And that might be the most terrifying part, is disassociating from certain ideas and people and experiences and titles. But that's how we align to our happiness, to our truth. I personally believe that anytime that we have depression or we have any type of like anxiety and whatnot, that's our body and our soul's way of showing us that this programming, this mask that we're wearing, is no longer serving us, and it's time to awaken to who we truly are and align to who we truly are. So the first thing is, you know, you start questioning why. The second thing I noticed is that intuitively, when you start questioning why, you start wanting to, you know, change certain habits about yourself. For me, I naturally started gravitating towards eating more healthier. I wanted to change my eating style. I went pescatarian, and then I went vegetarian, and then I went vegan. Like, I was trying to like really just get away from meat, and I started researching about herbs, and I started researching about different spices and teas and holistic healing, about meat, about veggies. And once I was doing that, I was more conscious and aware of what I was putting into my body. And I see this pattern a lot when people are on their spiritual journey, on their spiritual awakening. You just feel intuitively guided to change internally what you're putting into your body. You want to learn more about what you're putting into your body, because if I'm going to be honest, we're all energy. Food is energy. People are energy. Everything is energy. So you have to be mindful when you are eating certain foods that carries energy. When you're buying food from markets or you're buying food from different grocery stores, people have been putting their hands on it. People have been putting their own energy into the food. So you're buying other people's food. You're exchanging the food. But can you imagine if it's an animal? And this is not to negate against anyone who eats meat, because nothing's wrong with that. But I just want to get in perspective that when you're on the journey, you start thinking about these things. Like, you know, a person or an animal that's in pain, that's killed, they're in trauma. But when they're getting killed, they're not in like lightness, they're in pain. And so that energy is in that food and that meat. And then that meat gets taken to a grocery store and we buy that food. So we still have that energy in it. And plus the meat is dead now. So there's no life in the meat. Versus fruits and vegetables, there's life. They're alive. You know, you can grow your own veggies, you can grow your own fruit. Just to say that you start paying attention to these things. You naturally start paying attention to what you put in your body. You may naturally feel gravitated to working out or walking or being around nature, getting outside with nature, just feeding your body with something different. And the reason why, probably with nature is closest to God. Nature is the closest to the divine, to source. And so when we're outside, we can receive messages from the divine. We can be connected to our trees, to our ancestors through the trees. We can be connected to the insects or to the animals that may cross our path, which are signs from the divine, from source, from universe, that we're supported and we're loved. You just start feeling different. You want to do something different than what you've done before. So if you've been researching, if you've been trying to plug into eating healthier or finding a holistic healing, or, you know, if you've had diseases or if you had illnesses and you no longer really want to go to a regular doctor and you want to seek out, you know, a holistic healer or seek out holistic ways of healing, that's a sign that you're awakening. That's a sign that your soul, your spirit is telling you, like, hello, wake up. It is time to do something different. This is not the path for you. And let me just say also from personal experience, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, I believe back in 2017. Just so you're aware, I struggle, or I am healing from body dysmorphia, and I was addicted to weight loss medication back in 2016. And instead of like my doctor, like, you know, easing me off of it, my blood pressure spiked and they immediately put me on high blood pressure medication. I was 27 or 28 at the time, and so I was freaking out because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be on high blood pressure medication. So I was on that, as well as I was so mentally stressed. I had mental illness, I had body dysmorphia, I had depression, I had stress. And so that spikes your blood pressure. So anytime you have dis-ease, it's really because you have dis-ease within, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And instead of addressing those, I just stayed on the medication. And so that was part of the holistic, the reason I went through my spiritual awakening, because I wanted to get off the medication. I wanted to find another way to heal myself inwardly. And that became my process. And I'll discuss this more in another video about healing from body dysmorphia. But that's just how I led on my own journey. So I've been there as well. So you're not alone. It's a reason why you feel this way. Continue on. So let's talk about the third reason. The third reason that may show you that you are on your way to spiritual enlightenment, or you're on your way to your spiritual awakening, is because you start, you know, paying attention to who you are. You want to go deeper and learn about yourself. You want to start understanding who you are. And this is separate from the path, because you question what's your purpose here. But once you question yourself, you start learning about yourself, you start intuitively wanting to get out and eat better. You start also wanting to learn, why am I the way that I am? You start wanting to pay attention to your emotional patterns. You start wanting to pay attention to how you react. You may start wanting to seek out self-help books, self-love books. You may start following spiritual mentors or teachers on YouTube, or finding podcasts to listen to. You may, you know, start diving deep into just self-awareness. because that's what spirituality is really about to me, is really awakening you to who you are, learning who you are, the awareness of yourself. And that way, when you become more aware of yourself, you become more aligned to who you truly are, like at your core. Because we all have our own trauma, we all have our own pain and experiences that we've been dealt and that we have gone through. But spirituality allows us to not shy away from the pain, to be our most vulnerable real self with our pain, and embrace that. Don't hide from it, embrace it, because it is a part of you, but it does not have to define you. It does not have to be your forever, but it is something that you have experienced. And spirituality allows you to see that those experiences were lessons. Those experiences were teaching you for this very moment as you grow and evolve. And a lot of times we don't see that when we're not in our spiritual awakening, or we're not in our enlightenment. We see things as, why is this happening to me? Why is all these negative experiences always happening? Why am I at the bottom of the totem pole? And that's where your depression, your mental health comes in. But spirituality teaches you that we're all human, we're all imperfect, we're all flawed, and a lot of us have generational trauma. A lot of us have a lot of generational cycles of just pain, of poverty, of scarcity, of abuse, mental, sexual, emotional, physical abuse. And a lot of us are just recycling the same pain over and over, or we're suppressing that pain, we're suppressing those emotions, we're suppressing those feelings, we're ignoring the truth about who we really are, we're ignoring, our pain, we're not observing it because we're trying to fit society's norms. But really, it comes out anyway. We're gonna hurt other people, we hurt ourselves, we are reactive, we're triggered, we're in pain, we're angry, we're sad. When you see people who are on the road and they're racing, they're cussing everybody out, they're flicking people off just because somebody braked in front of them, or they're willing to pull out a gun, that's somebody that's in extreme pain. And they're causing pain to somebody else because they don't know how to handle that. They have not released their emotions and that pain in a healthy way, so it comes out in a toxic way. So spirituality allows you to take awareness of self, take accountability for self, and really question, like, why am I the way that I am? Oh, I went through these experiences. Like, you're willing to look at experiences from your childhood, from your past relationships, from your adulthood, from disappointments, and you're willing to take, a glance at self and start to see the bigger picture of why you had to go through those certain things, or why those experiences did happen. And you start to, have empathy and sympathy for yourself, and also have compassion for yourself, because, you're imperfect. And some of the cards that were dealt to you, yeah, they were unfortunate, but at the same time, if it was dealt to you by a parent or dealt to you by other people, you start seeing other people for who they were. Like, they were flawed and imperfect and probably messed up from whatever experience that they had to go through. So it's like a cycle. It's a generational cycle. And you've been chosen to wake up from the cycle. You've been chosen to break that cycle, to be the one that ushers in a new way, so that way the people around you can learn from you, as well as children, your children that you birth, or the children that you have already, or your friends, your family, associates. They can learn from you. They can see the different way, because you don't have to be in pain. Like, you are choosing to be a willing participant in your life story, and you're choosing to choose your happiness and your peace. And that's the greatest gift that you can give yourself, and that you can give to others. Because once you awaken and you start on this journey and this path, it doesn't mean that life doesn't happen. It's like life just stops. Like, life is like, oh, there's no more pain. No, what it means is that you see life for what it is. You see that we have no control over our experiences, but we do have control over ourselves, how we react to these experiences. We do learn about ourselves, self-awareness, emotional intelligence. We start knowing that, death is a part of life. Loss is a part of life. That is. It truly is. But we don't let it overcome us to the point where we can't move on. That we take it as something against us, instead of looking at it as a bigger picture. Is that death really isn't the end, but that's a whole other video we'll talk about. But really, just the essence. So the three things, as I stated, you will question what is your purpose in life. You will also want to navigate to something that's healthier and a healthier lifestyle. And lastly, you will start wanting to learn more about yourself and your emotions and your past, and just questioning all that has happened and triggered and in your life. So I hope this was helpful. If you have, you know, been on your own spiritual awakening, or you're on that path right now, please let me know in the comments what has been on your journey. Like, what have you seen, what have you noticed, and what has helped you as you navigate opening up your heart space. I look forward to talking to you guys soon, and you have a great day.